All right, everyone, it is now primary day. It is March 17th. We have 4 states that will be voting on who they want to be the Democratic nominee, and I suspect Joe Biden will win all 4 of these states. The polling, we do have some late polling from 2 of the states, especially from Arizona. We've got several polls there. Bernie Sanders is behind by at least 20 points in every single recent poll out of all 4 of these states. I consider Joe Biden's lead insurmountable, and some of this polling takes place partially after the debate. I can't imagine that the debate will change things. Some of the early voting will favor, I think, Joe Biden, although really early voting could favor Bernie Sanders. It's going to be a negligible total. I'm predicting that Joe Biden wins all 4 states by double digits, and that he wins Florida by at least 20 points. That is, he's going to crush Bernie Sanders in Florida. Largely because because Bernie praises Fidel Castro. That's been my prediction for a while now. And basically that knocks Bernie Sanders out of the running. He's basically swept out. It would no longer be possible for Sanders, under any reasonable expectation, to be able to compile enough delegates to go in with majority. The only thing that he could possibly do by staying in the race is deny Biden an outright majority, thus leading to a contested convention sort of thing. That would be chaos. It's what I want. I hope Bernie Sanders stubbornly stays in and Biden keeps making the occasional mistake so that Bernie gets just enough delegates to deny Joe Biden an absolute majority. But let's face it, at this point it's becoming less likely that'll happen because it looks like, again, Joe Biden has really pulled ahead. Nationally, he's at 54 right now. It will be higher after March 17th because, again, he'll look inevitable. The inevitability will lead to some people, softer supporters of Sanders, which is about maybe a third of the people currently backing him. He's got a fairly large, hardened coalition now. It's somewhere in the 20s. But it's not as high as 35, which is where he is nationally. I would expect maybe 2 or 3 of those points to disappear off his coalition. Some will go to Biden. Some people will basically say, fuck it. Coronavirus is definitely the wild card at the moment. Because, I mean, you've got a shifting economic view. I suspect that by the general election, the economy will have repaired itself. I don't expect this to lead to the very long-term thing. Short and intermediate term, definitely, it's been quite bad. I expect that a lot of that damage will be undone by November. But shorter term is when the primaries are taking place. Bernie Sanders, as the economic reform candidate, could actually get a late boost because of the economy the way it is. Because Joe Biden is basically a doppelganger of Obama. Obama oversaw a period of recession, a period where the economy was not doing so well. Trump has overseen, until the last few weeks, a very good economy. Bernie Sanders has never been tested in that arena. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. He doesn't believe in the sort of economic principles that most of the world is built upon. Now, certainly the entire successful part of the world. And it'll be interesting to see how voters look at potentially the stock market dwindling and crypto crash and everything, and see whether they could back somebody who's proposing the kind of economic snake oil that Sanders peddles. Now, I wouldn't. I would never back Sanders in a million years, and if he were nominated, I would work doubly hard to have him defeated. I would do everything within my power as a content creator cross-platform to convince as many people as possible, not only to not vote for him, but to actively knock on doors, bill it, make videos, get out there, sign petitions, wave flags and signs, do whatever they can. With Biden, I would be more hesitant to bother. I'll oppose him. I'll vote for Trump. That's almost certain at this point. Vote for Trump. I'll definitely make it clear my preference, and I'll definitely make it clear that Biden, each time he makes mistakes, is something I'm laughing at. But he's not an existential threat to civilization like Bernie Sanders is. He's not a complete lunatic. We've already seen his economic policies. He's basically just taken them from Obama. Although he's delved into the identity politics cesspit now by promising that he'll have a female VP, a female running mate. By the way, ladies out there, can you vote for him knowing that the first female president would therefore likely be someone who wasn't elected to that position? Because I'll tell you, Joe Biden probably would not survive a full 4-year term. He'd probably be forced to resign because of dementia, which he obviously has. The timeline of dementia makes it fairly clear he wouldn't be doing too well by the end of the term. He'd be as confused as Reagan was at the end of his second term already the second that he was elected. Or he dies. He's had several aneurysms. Not that Bernie Sanders is a spring chicken or doesn't have problems. He just got done having a massive heart attack a couple of months ago and spent days off the campaign trail. I guarantee his doctors were pissed that he kept going. He said, take it easy. No more big rallies. By the way, Joe Biden doesn't have a problem with holding rallies. In some of these states, you're not supposed to have a gathering of more than 10 or 50 people. Biden doesn't care because he never has more than 10 people at a rally. Bernie Sanders and Trump, meanwhile, they're basically not able to campaign. How can you campaign when 50,000 people are going to show up? If Trump were to hold a rally right now, one problem for Trump I can see is that he's got this bombastic attitude. I think he really loves the crowd, and it's going to drain some of his sort of energy, I think, away, having to appear on TV and at news conferences every other fucking day instead of being able to go to a rally, which is a giant love fest of people with MAGA hats on. I think it's going to piss him off for a while to come. It will be funny to see if he gets more antagonistic. I can't wait. This election getting rocked by coronavirus actually injects a little more excitement into a Dem field that at this point is just two old dudes yelling at each other. Just two goofballs, long-term 70s-era political hacks that have been peddling the same junk for a long time. Biden switching his mind more constantly, of course. Bernie Sanders is stuck in the 70s. Biden's stuck in whatever year his demented mind thinks it is at any given moment. But my prediction remains the same. Biden wins all 4 states by double-digit margins. He wins Florida by a much larger margin. He grabs up a huge number of delegates. He shoots ahead 100, 150 extra delegates into the lead. He becomes the presumptive nominee at that time. Barring a medical problem or, he gets coronavirus and gets taken out of campaigning for a month because he's older. He has another aneurysm. He dies or something. Barring something like that, Biden will be, I believe, the nominee for the Democrats. By the way, to people who are saying, well, the fix is in, he's going to have Hillary Clinton as his running mate. He'd be crazy, and he'd lose if he did that. Because it'd be the ultimate jerry-rigging. That won't happen. It will almost certainly be either Amy Klobuchar or Kamala Harris. If he chooses the former, he stands a much greater chance of not embarrassing himself. Having Kamala Harris aboard as VP would be worse than having Bernie Sanders aboard as your running mate. It'd be worse than pretty much anything else I can think of. Kamala Harris doesn't debate properly. She does a terrible job. She's politically non-advantageous to his ticket. She would piss off huge numbers of his core voting base, which is moderates. One reason he's doing well is he's not a fanatic compared to someone like Bernie Sanders. Kamala Harris is a fanatic. Klobuchar sort of waffled around. She sort of did a more successful Warren shtick there for a while, where she cast herself off as sort of, I'm a little bit progressive, but ultimately I'm a big mama moderate, sort of almost a Palin-esque sort of thing at times. I think she would do better. Of course, that would piss off the POC voter crowd, the 2 or 3% of voters that care about that within the Dem Party would probably flock off, but at least you wouldn't piss off the moderates. See, they're more numerous. Yeah, I mean, Joe Biden trying to, inject some excitement into a campaign where he's likely to fuck up on a debate stage every time he's on there is going to be funny anyway. It's going to be funny also because at the debates, probably there won't be a live audience. They've already started not having that at the Dem debates. Rallies have been canceled. Biden will still be able to hold rallies again because he can have 6 or 7 people show up at a town hall. That'll be very, very cute. And he's jumped into the modern tech thing, by the way. He tried to do like an electronic town hall there, and then he kept wandering off camera and like stuttering and doing weird shit. Biden plus computers doesn't work very well. It's funny, Trump doesn't even own a computer, and yet he's more tech literate than these people are, by a huge margin. Of course, he knows how to use a smartphone. That's basically the same thing as a computer at this point. I hate the fact that that's how things work now. I hate the fact that people take their computers with them everywhere because it makes the world more boring, actually. It was better back in like the 90s, sort of the dot-com feel sort of era, and certainly better in the early social media era of the late 2000s. Way better than the internet of today, much less censored. Much less bullshit on it, too. Everyone wants to be a TikTok star now, so they all whip out their cell phones and do stupid shit on the go, like licking airplane toilets and calling it the coronavirus challenge. And you gotta be nuts, dude. You gotta be kidding me. That's about all. Peace out.